So today I'm going to do a fairly short restorative yoga practice. It might be a good one to do when perhaps you're feeling a little bit low on energy, tired, perhaps you've been having some treatment and you just feel like you just need to look after yourself, perhaps just get down on the mat and do some stretching. Before we start, I'm going to show you a safe way to get down onto the mat. And I know for perhaps a lot of people who have had treatment some time ago, been doing yoga for a while, you don't even think about getting down on the mat. But I get a lot of people contacting me, wanting to come to class, but actually just being quite frightened they won't be able to get down, and if they do get down they won't be able to get back up. So I'm just going to show you a technique that virtually everyone can use to get you down safely. If people have had chemo, radiotherapy, or perhaps have got bone cancer, as you all know, it's likely that the bone density will be affected and the bones will be weakened. With this in mind, when we're doing yoga, we never go into fast forward bends. We're really mindful of our spine, and getting down onto the mat is exactly the same. We don't want people bending from the waist, bringing their hands down and perhaps doing some damage to their spine. I'm going to use 2 blocks to do this. You can buy these virtually anywhere. I think these might have even come from Aldi, but they're absolutely perfect. If you haven't got blocks, you might have perhaps a couple of same height side tables you could use. You could even use a chair either side of the mat. We're going to put the blocks down on their long end. If you're using chairs, you're going to be slightly higher, so that will make it even easier. But we're going to take the feet forward so that the big toes are in line with the front of the block. We're now going to come down as if we're sitting in a chair, so the same as we would do in our chair pose. So coming back, keeping the chest lifted, spine straight, and coming down to the blocks, bringing one knee down, then the other knee down, blocks aside, and rocking over onto one hip, and nice and comfortably and safely down on the mat. I've got Ben assisting me here today. He normally jumps up and gets on the sofa, but he might be staying there by the look of him today. So we're going to come down lying on the mat, so keeping a bend in the knees and holding on to the back of the thighs. We're going to engage the core muscles and bring ourselves down nice and slowly, keeping the spine straight until we get to the stage that perhaps we have to flop down on the mat. For some people, if that is quite a challenge, you can always just put the hands back and just gradually come down onto the elbows and bring yourself down. If you need any cushioning, any blankets or anything under you to make you more comfortable, feel free to use those. But otherwise, we're going to hold on to the back of the thighs, engage the core muscles, and bring ourselves nice and slowly down onto the mat. And then we're going to push the legs away if you don't have a dog in your way, and just lie down. So let's make ourselves comfortable. So perhaps just giving the shoulders a wriggle, perhaps just giving the hips a little wriggle, and just taking a breath here with the palms facing up towards the ceiling. So a couple of nice big deep breaths right down into the belly. So just settling yourself down. Anyone where that feels really uncomfortable on the lower back with the legs stretched out, you can always put a bend in the knees, take the feet out to mat width apart, and just let the knees fall together so that you don't have to use any effort to hold the legs here. So nice and comfortable. Otherwise with the legs stretched out on the mat. We're now going to bring some tension into the legs as we bring the ankles together and we flex the feet back towards the body. And just a little bit of tension. And then taking a big inhalation, we're going to lift the arms up overhead, bringing the hands down onto the floor as we point the toes away. With the exhalation, flexing the feet back towards the body as we bring the hands down to the sides of the body. So we're going to keep that going with our breath. And we want to make this a moving meditation. So we're really honing in on the body and breath working together. So mind, body and breath really in sync. If that is a little bit challenging, lifting the arms up overhead, just lift them to your comfort level. Might just be as high as this, it could even be lower. But make sure you lift the arms to the same height. We don't want one going overhead and one staying straight, because we like to keep synchronized to keep the body in balance. So just keep that going and just focus on perhaps the parts of the body that you can feel stretching, the muscles that you can feel working. So really taking your attention, your focus to the sensations in the body. And just feel that nice stretch under the arms, down the legs. So a nice full body stretch. Keeping the breath nice and steady, nice and deep. And we'll bring the hands down to the sides of the body with this last breath. And take a big breath here. And then we're going to put a bend in the knees, bringing the feet about hip width apart. And we're going to push the right foot up towards the ceiling. You may be able to get the legs straight, holding on to the thigh or the calf, or you may need a bend in the knee. So that is absolutely fine, whichever one suits you. Great to straighten the legs, so to get that full stretch along the back of the leg, but just working to your comfort level. So pushing the heel up towards the ceiling, bringing the toes down towards the body. And just holding that here. So breathing into the back of the leg, just imagining the breath just helping you soften into the posture. And now we're going to circle the ankle. So nice, slow, big circles with the ankle. And just focus on the muscles that you're moving as you make this movement. You can feel the calf muscle moving, and feel the ankle joints moving. So just take your focus to the sensations that you can feel in the body, and then circling in the opposite direction. Keeping the shoulders nice and flat on the mat. And bringing the foot back to centre. Now for those of you who can reach the inside of the foot with the hand, bringing the knee into the chest, we're going to bring the knee out to the right hand side. So we're bringing it down into the armpit. Now you might want to straighten the leg just to make this a stronger stretch. So we're really opening out the hips, really giving the quads a really good stretch here. You may perhaps be able to just get hold of the calf, or you may just be able to get the hands around the back of the thigh. But we're trying to keep this leg straight with the sole of the foot facing towards the ceiling, toes flex down towards the body. And this is what we call our half baby. So nice big deep breaths into the thigh. And then bringing the knee back to centre. And push the leg back up towards the ceiling, flexing the toes down towards the body, holding around the thigh or the shin, shoulders nice and flat on the mat. Just taking a breath here. Then we're going to put a bend in the knee, bring the foot down to the floor. If you've got the leg stretched out, bring that foot back down in line with the right one. And now we're going to push the left leg up towards the ceiling. Again, holding around the thigh or the calf, flexing the feet down towards the body, heel pushing up towards the ceiling, a bend in the knee if you need, and keeping the shoulders nice and flat on the mat. So there we are, holding the thighs or the calf. And then circling that ankle. You might hear some cracks and some noises, but not to worry, not doing any harm. And then circling in the opposite direction. And again, just noticing the muscles that you're working just by the movement of the ankle, just how everything has a knock-on effect throughout the body. And bringing the foot back to centre. So again, we're going to take hold of the inside of the left foot if that is available to you. Otherwise taking hold of the calf or even the back of the leg. And we're going to bring the knee down towards the armpit as we bring the leg out to the left hand side. If you want a stronger stretch and you don't have a dog in your way, just push the leg out straight along the mat and just hold that here. You can keep the hand down on the right thigh, or perhaps you want just to put it on the mat. But just a couple of breaths here, really just breathing into the thigh, just releasing the tension, really opening out the hips. And then bringing the knee back to centre, pushing the foot up towards the ceiling, heel up towards the ceiling, toes pointing down and holding around the calf or the thigh. And just taking a breath here, making sure the shoulders are relaxed down on the mat. Releasing the foot down onto the mat, taking a bend into the right knee. Just walking the feet in a little bit nearer the sitting bones, perhaps just being able to brush the back of the heels with the fingertips. Keeping the knees pointing over the feet. And then we're going to take the arms out to the sides, about shoulder height with the palms facing down. Now with a big inhalation, exhalation, lower the legs to the right hand side, coming over onto the knife edge of the feet, keeping both shoulders down on the mat, so paying attention to the left shoulder that it's not lifting, and then just taking a couple of breaths here. Now if your right knee is quite away from the floor, you can always use one of these blocks just to put under the knee, just to support you to make the posture a little bit more comfortable. If that feels uncomfortable with the head turned, you can take the head to centre and just look towards the ceiling. And then perhaps just gently closing the eyes. This just helps you focus, take the focus inwards and notice what's happening in the body. So feeling the sensations, the muscles that you're working, the muscles that you're stretching. If any of these poses feel painful at all, you should come straight out of them and just stay on the mat just with your knees bent to take a rest. So we want to feel a nice stretch, but we don't want to feel any pain. So we never push ourselves too far in yoga. We definitely don't go for the burn. It's counterproductive, and that's when you can sustain an injury. So with an inhalation, bringing the knees back to centre. And with the exhalation, lowering the knees down to the left-hand side. Over onto the knife edge of the feet. Making sure the right shoulder is nice and firm on the mat. And then perhaps turning the head to look along the right arm, just releasing any tension in the neck. Or if that feels uncomfortable, keeping the gaze towards the ceiling. And then just taking a few breaths here. Again, perhaps closing the eyes if you've opened them again. And just focusing on the sensations in the body. These twists are really good for the spine, keeping the spine healthy and lubricated. With an inhalation, bringing the legs back to centre, and with the exhalation, bringing the hands down to the sides of the body. We're now going to put the hands on the knees, and we're going to keep the big toes together, and we're going to circle the knees around. And as you do this, just notice the back massaging into the mat. Notice the shoulders massaging into the mat. So just noticing the sensations in the body. Noticing the parts of the body you can feel touching the mat. And now coming back in the opposite direction. Keeping the breath nice and steady. So nice, easy, steady breathing. Again, perhaps keeping the eyes closed so you can focus on what's happening in the body, focusing on these sensations, and then bringing the legs back to centre. Now I'm going to bring the legs down onto the mat as we come into our final relaxation, our Savasana. Again, you can keep the knees bent if it's uncomfortable to push the legs out along the mat, taking the feet to mat width apart, letting the knees fall together. But if it's comfortable to do so, just push the legs out along the mat. Take the feet just a little wider than hip width apart and just allow the feet to flop out to the sides. Now you might want to take the hands down onto the floor, backs of the hands on the floor, palms facing up and fingers gently curled. It's a really nice open gesture. But sometimes just having the hand on the belly can just feel a little bit more comforting if that's what you need today. So it's up to you which one feels more comfortable for you. Making sure the shoulder blades are nice and flat on the mat, so just having a wriggle. And then just making yourself comfortable. Sometimes people like to put a rolled up blanket under the knees or a bolster under the knees if there's a little bit of strain in the lower back. So that's something that you might want to use. And I want you just to rest here in stillness for a few moments. So taking your attention back to your breath, nice deep easy breaths. So with the inhalation just feel that lifting, and with the exhalation just a sinking down, a letting go. Relaxing the muscles in the face. Relaxing the jaw, often an area we hold tension. Relaxing the shoulders, the chest. Relaxing the belly, again another area that we often hold tension. So making the belly feel nice and soft. Relaxing the hips, the thighs, the calves, and just allowing the feet to feel nice and soft. Relaxing the upper arms, the forearms, and the hands. And I want you just to stay here for as long as you feel you need to. Moving into this posture is a way to integrate our practice. We've worked on different parts of the body, and Savasana brings it all together. It's also a time that we can switch to our parasympathetic nervous system, and this is where our healing gets done. So nice and slow, nice and relaxed. Just stay here as long as you feel that you need to. Just really enjoying that moment of relaxation. Namaste.